You come from a family, you were born in Kenya,
Yeah.
Came over here, moved to the UK, and racism is something that you experienced right from your childhood till the present day, something you're still experiencing.
Yeah, it's really weird because, I mean, yes, of course. I mean, I'm not alone. I'm a kid of the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
And when we came over here as immigrants, you know, I live in a corner shop where we were getting my mum was being spat at, my dad was being beaten up, I was being beaten up on a daily basis by skinheads and stuff. And for us, it was normal. This is the country we've come to, not because we wanted to, but we were looking for a better life. And that's the immigrant story. You're not doing it, as an immigrant, you don't do it because I just fancy the weather in the UK, although right now it's great. You're doing it because you're escaping something and you're looking for a better life. And so we grew up with that. We grew up with that at school, racism at school, not just by kids, maybe some of the teachers. And but the funny thing was, in the rehearsals, we were talking about racism and I was sharing some stories, and I just happened to be walking home from the tube station when I live in a nice, safe, middle-class area, and a van pulls past, opens the window and shouts the most explicit racist things that I hadn't heard for a while. And I went back the next day and went, guess what happened? With so much happiness. I went, look what happened. It still goes on.
Then how does that make you feel now, when you realise that times haven't really moved on and people are still like that?
I don't think, you know, I've got to say, and I know it sounds really weird, but that's what we were used to when we came here. And it doesn't go away.
But does that, when somebody shouts out something like that to you, does it take you back? Because it got so bad with you, didn't it, as a kid? Your nose was broken.
Doesn't
that give you a bit of post-traumatic stress when somebody's still coming at you like that all these years later?
Well, it depends. If you've got an immigrant story, if you come from poverty, you just laugh it off. This is what you're dealing with. You know, not everyone's not everyone's like that.
You did that in public, obviously, with friends and what have you. But in private, when you were younger, didn't you take solace in food? I did. You overate. You became
I had a sketch pad, so I'd spend a lot of time sketching. Yeah. And food. Yeah, you do. You'd look for somewhere. Comfort eating was my thing, and I was very big. I was probably obese by the time I was about 12.
And then didn't you go to the other extreme then?
Yeah, and so then I went the other way. Once I got to university, I lost a lot of weight, and then I studied as an actor in Italy with a very famous director called Grotowski, and by that point, when I got to Italy, they just said, we've never seen anyone as skinny as you, you need to eat.
They fed you up.
They were just stuffing...
True Italian.
There are worse places in the world to be fed than Italy.
I know. Yeah, so you do. I think if you've been bullied for it's not just about colour, but if you've been bullied for your weight and your colour, you find ways of coping, and food was a way. You know.
Is that why you chose to do this play then? Because it just reminded you about experiences you had, and you just thought you could bring a lot to it.
Yeah, and I can relate to it. But I can relate to the white characters. Strangely enough, it's really interesting. Okay. The Caucasian characters that Les and Blake play are really interesting. It's a really interesting argument, and the audience are split throughout the whole show, and they come out with their eyes wide open, going, "This is an incredible discussion." Yeah. But for me, it's a great part as well. You know, I come in and I come in the second half of the show, so I'm really not quite awake, and then have to deliver this big scene. And I
want
love
to
it.
see it.
I know.
Honestly,
we can't get tickets.
Oh, we can get you tickets.
Oh.
People at home get tickets.
Yeah, we'll sort your tickets out. Come. But it's one of those things where I really wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Really hand on heart. It's a brilliant piece of writing.
And you're still filming EastEnders at the same time.
Yeah.
How are you managing that?
That's a little bit weird when but it's good. It's good. You know, it's a nice problem to have, to be overworked. You know?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Do you know what I find really fascinating? We haven't got a huge amount of time to go into it now. Was that it was a teacher who had faith in you and gave you the belief in yourself. Are you still in touch with them?
Lynn Long. Yeah. You know, everyone needs. You have to respect teachers. I was a shy little fat kid who sat there drawing, and she just kind of took me at the age of 11. Went, right, you come with me, and just slowly encouraged me. I had a speech impediment at one point. I was so shy, and she got me on stage and changed my life.
And sometimes that's all it takes is one person.